It is Footy Prime. It is Thursday, our final show of the week, but it's a big one because we've got a couple of really, really big matches this weekend. We've got the Champions League final, PSG, Inter Milan. We'll get to that later in today's show because the main story for all Canadian football fans is, of course, the CONCACAF Champions Cup final. Your Whitecaps up against Cruz Azul at the Estadio Olímpico Universitario, where, by the way, the Caps have already won this. Well, they triumphed, didn't they, against Pumas in the quarterfinals, courtesy Tristan Blackman's late heroics. Asa Rehman joins Amy Walsh, Craig Forrest, and myself today, as he's our expert of all things Vancouver Whitecaps. How you doing, Asa? Excited?
Yeah, doing all right, and feeling pretty good after a goal is drawn by the Vancouver Whitecaps at BC Place. But I think there were some positives to take from that game heading into the match on Sunday.
Yeah, some players arrested, obviously, for good reason. But listen, I mean, the Caps have already beaten Mexican opponents twice in this tournament. They've beaten Lionel Messi. They're number 2 in the CONCACAF club rankings, whatever that means. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
But, I mean, what is the vibe around the team? It has to be nothing but swagger and confidence, right?
Yeah, a lot of confidence right now. 15 matches, unbeaten. They keep finding a way to at least get a result. Even in the match, the Canadian Championship match against Valor, it looked like they were down, losing 2-1 to an opponent that they felt like they should have handled easily. They end up finding a way to get the goal to equalize from Ali Ahmed. So they keep finding ways to at least get the results. And then the match on Wednesday at home at BC Place against a Minnesota team that was gunning for them. I thought that the Whitecaps were clearly the better side, dominated play, dictated play from the opening whistle, just couldn't get that goal. Brian White didn't start that game. I think we're getting a clearer picture of what the starting 11 looks like. And when they are all together, that starting 11, that group, I think it's a really hard team to break down. And they've got goals in them as well. We've seen that throughout the season. So I think confidence is really good right now going into that match against Sunday. But I think they're really excited to finally be able to focus on that match without any other distraction, without any other game. Like I've talked about this over the last couple of weeks now. It's so unique to have the biggest game in your sport of the year happening in the middle or the early part of your season. And you have all these other games in between as well. So it'd be like, making it to the Super Bowl, the Stanley Cup final, and then you have 5 other games that you have to play that are like mean something still. You have these games to do, but you've also made it to this final, and you can't really focus on that until you've completed these tasks beforehand. And now they've completed those tasks, and they can really focus on this game. At the same time, Jesper Sorensen has said that you'd be foolish to think that, the players and the coaches aren't thinking about this match as well as they're preparing for these games against RSL and Minnesota. So they have been thinking about the match against Cruz Azul, but it's nice to really just have that as a sole focus for a couple days before they leave on Friday to Mexico City and really focus in on this match and hopefully get the results, because I think they have a good chance. They're relatively healthy coming into this game. Outside of Brian Gauld, the only one that's out for that match. So everyone else is available. And then Berhalter has to miss that match because of yellow card accumulation, silly rule, and just unfortunate that he's unavailable for that game. But otherwise, everyone's good to go for this game.
Are you surprised, Asa, that the league didn't switch the game last night? Give Vancouver just an extra few days?
Yeah, mixed feelings about this one. You look at the Whitecaps' record so far this season, and it's been incredible. But when they haven't performed well, haven't played well, it's been when they've had a week between games. For whatever reason, they're in a really good flow right now and healthy. I think that helps too, right? You got guys, you're able to rotate, and they have a deep squad. So they're able to keep everyone happy and still get results and just have these good games. And then Minnesota match was a prime example of that. Like, got through it quite comfortably. Would have loved to get the 3 points in front of the home fans, but didn't break a sweat. Like, Yohei didn't really have to stretch for a save in the entire game. So they feel really good going into these games and the way they're performing. So why not? I think Axel heard him mention that if they didn't have the game on Wednesday, they would have had to have an intense training anyway. Like at that stage, that many days before the match, you have the intense training anyway. The matches seem to work out just fine. They get the results. They keep moving. They're in a good flow and a good rhythm right now. So yeah, I think that's the one side of the coin. The other side is, and Jesper kind of alluded to this, is it would have been nice to just have the full week to really focus, because as long as you have these other games, you're thinking about what your lineup might be for Cruz Azul and how you want to play players leading up to that game, who you want to get minutes, how many minutes you want to get to each player, and making sure that they, don't pick up a knock or an injury. So it would have been nice maybe to just not have to worry about that, but it's done now. Got through it. The one sort of slight injury, still waiting for an update on, is Tate Johnson. He's been dealing with the banged up shoulder, and he left the game on Wednesday a little early, so he might be a question mark. But I think Sam Adekubi was the likely starter going into that match against Cruz Azul, and things were kind of pointing in that direction as well. For the most part, I think they're okay. They've done well with these games, and like I said earlier, 15 matches unbeaten, so everything's going all right with the Whitecaps so far.
And really, from a player's perspective, there's nothing better than maintaining your fitness through a steady rhythm of games instead of trying to manufacture those levels in training. But do you think, Asa, that part of the success that this Whitecaps team has seen in navigating two competitions and straddling them both has been obviously the deep squad, which we've talked about kind of ad nauseum? We know that that's there, that we know that's at Sorensen's disposal, but is the fact that very little seems to change in a way of formation, structure, principles of play, that there's a clarity about what they want to achieve in terms of the way that they're approaching each football match, regardless of the opponent.
100%. And there's a trust as well that everyone can do their job. And the other thing that's been really interesting, we've talked about this before as well, is that Jesper's sort of empowered these players to play within their strengths and really has embraced that and allowed, Tate Johnson to play that left back position to the best of his ability and the best way that he can do it. And then Sam Adekubi will play it a little bit differently. And that's been really refreshing to see as well, so that, everyone can do the job in their own way. And it all seems to work because there is this trust in each other. And, it's a tight-knit group. They really do play for each other. They also hold each other accountable. Sarita Patel, Caps Club reporter, was chatting with us in the pregame show yesterday. She said that she pointed this out in training. Yes, it's all good times, good vibes. You're winning, having fun. Everything's great. But also they're pretty good about quickly calling things out if someone needs to do something a little bit differently or better or whatever it is, and knowing and understanding that that's with an eye to be better and improve every day. So, I think that the principles of play are important to Jesper Sorensen, but also there's this freedom that he's given these players, and they all seem to be embracing it and enjoying their football right now. So that's the one thing that's really standing out to me, and it's really encouraging going into this final.
And quick Sarita Patel story, because she's one of the best humans that you'll ever meet. We covered the inaugural NSL game together, and she coined a phrase that maybe she's not the first to do it, but it was the first time I'd heard it, so I use it now on the regular. So we said, Sarita, do you want to lift to your place? We're all at a restaurant together. She goes, no, I'm going to use my chevre legs. And I was like, stealing that. So shout out to Sarita. She's the best.
Where is she in your top 5 list for best humans?
Oh, well ahead of you guys.
Okay.
Ex-teammates, probably close friends from my childhood, etc. Than you guys.
Really? We're way down there.
She's good.
No, okay. You guys are in there. You got like top 20 for sure.
Top 20. Well, I'll take top 20.
Yeah.
But she's top 5 for sure. Or...
You guys need to have her on this show.
Back in the top 10. Yes, we should.
Add an extra show. There you go.
Yeah. Next time we're thinking about getting Asa on, let's not.
Yeah, let's get Sarita instead.
What are you doing, Asa? Jesus. You weren't dismissing the absence of Berhalter, were you, earlier, Asa?
Dismissing how? What do you mean,
like they won't be there? Like you're like, Berhalter suspended. And that's a big deal.
It is a massive deal, and that's still the biggest question mark for me when I look at this lineup. Some players you can, I think, pencil in right away, and I'm sure players or fans after that match on Wednesday, or maybe even during the match, as soon as the starting 11 came out, you probably were doing the math, trying to figure out what the starting 11 looks like. Yohei's in goal. The two center backs, Ranko Veselinovic and Tristan Blackman. The right side up for grabs, really interesting between Matias Laborda and Edir Ocampo. And then on the left side, I'm thinking Sam Adekubi, especially with the shoulder injuries to Tate Johnson, but also maybe a trust factor with the experience in a cup final. I was leaning that way before the match. And then Kubas, is at the 6. I think that's slotted in. Vite as one of the midfielders with him in this incredible 3 that's been Vite, Kubas, and Berhalter. I think that's one of the best in MLS. Without Berhalter, real question mark, because JC Ngannou seems to be the one that goes in there. He's a dynamic attacking player. And then the sort of X factor, the interesting one there is maybe Ralph Priso, who's showed well at times this season. I think he's been really consistent and really good when he's been on the field. So that's an interesting one to watch. They will miss Berhalter. The other part of Berhalter's absence they're really going to miss is he takes all the set pieces. And it was really standing out, and it was apparent on Wednesday night. He was taking the corner kicks on either side, every free kick, and whipping them in. He's really good at those. So that's going to be interesting to see who kind of picks up the pieces there. I'm guessing Pedro Vite, left-footed ball in. But, we'll see if who else ends up standing over those set pieces. They're really going to miss Sebastian Berhalter for sure. He's an engine in the middle of the park.
Wasn't he just awarded the goal of the tournament thus far? That little back heel that he scored, was it against Pumas? I can't remember who it was against.
Oh, that was a beautiful
that
goal.
little
Yeah, that's right.
one, that he scored. I love that one.
Oh yeah, he's having a year. Like he's been awesome to watch, and it's really cool. So many players for the Whitecaps have kind of stepped up this season, and we're seeing them take their game to another level. He's one of them, and he's the player that you always talk about as the first player at training, last one to leave, and he really is, and he's going through his craft. He's really this dedicated coach's kid, as you'd expect. Basically, he's there just dialed in all the time, and if we request to chat with him after the practice, that you're going to have to wait a little while. It'll take a minute for him to go through all of his set pieces, his shots, everything that he does after the training, but it's worth the wait. He's a pleasure to talk to, and it's been really fun to kind of see him. And it was another interesting thing that came up. I think it was chatting with either Toussaint Ricketts or Sarita. They were chatting about how Tate Johnson has really taken to Sebastian Berhalter, and the two of them are really tight. So it's really cool to see, that friendship. And and if Tate Johnson picks up the work ethic that Sebastian Berhalter has, Caps will have another incredible player.
Seb and Tate could be like an interesting duo, or name for a sitcom, or maybe a little like podcast, the two of them together.
You should have them on the show.
No more podcasts.
No. You can't have any more.
Maxed
out.
Good ones. Yeah. Looking at the odds here, and the Caps are the dogs in this one, plus 390. Plus 390 at the moment, minus 145. No surprise there, given that it's Cruz Azul, right? Who they are giants of Mexican football, 6-time champions.
Mm-hmm.
Mexican teams have won, I think, 18 of the past 20 of these tournaments as well. But I'm going to sprinkle. I am on the Caps in this one. I'm going to throw in a win for the Caps, and I'm just going through some odds here in our fan deal here.
50 cents.
No, Craig. I might put a $5 on them.
Ooh,
I know. That's a lot.
Wow.
I think Brian White's going to score 2 or more goals.
Oh,
2 or more goals?
Yes,
that's all right. You can get a brace. Yeah. You need some odds. That's okay. I'm into it.
Yeah,
exactly.
You might make $1 million on that $5.
Why are you dismissing the man?
Well, I'm not dismissing the man.
You're just asking a hell of a lot there.
Delivered. That's a big ask. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, they're playing great football. They are rising to the challenge each and every week of big games. They've been written off all tournament. They keep finding a way, and usually through his goals. And why can't? Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is gonna be nice. So, all right, all right. If I parlay this together, all right. So, $5 in this. That would be like $280.
Yes.
Let's do it, right?
The Whitecaps to win, White to bag a brace.
Yeah. Done.
What are the odds
I
if
like
you
it.
just
$5, Craig,
Brian White
$5.
to score? What are the odds that you get there? Are they just
Oh,
are they
just to
not,
score a
not
goal?
very good?
Just to
Yeah.
score a goal?
Yeah.
Okay, I will find out for you right now. Let's see. Anytime goal scorer, Brian
I
White.
like Brian to get 2. Like,
Plus
I think,
250.
I love the confidence, guys.
yeah.
Plus 250 to score 1 or more goals.
If you're gonna do it, if he gets 1, he gets another. I'm into it.
Let's do it. You know, this
Game
this
opens
team's
up.
got this. It's got this kind of team of destiny feel to them this year. The Caps, don't you think?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I might put a treble down before I watch the match on Sunday, and as an MLS Cup, Canadian Championship, and that'll pay.
You check that? Can you check that now?
I don't know if I can yet. When you guys start talking again, I'll have a look.
Well,
Does that bet include extra time?
Yes.
For the Brian White goals? That's
that's
a
why
good
we need
question.
Forrest.
Damn
He's
it,
always
Craig.
into the nitty-gritty on the betting.
I know. I think it's 90 actually. Now you mention it.
Yeah. See,
So 2 goals in the 90.
Confident regardless. I don't know. I
Yeah.
have to check. Keep talking about that to you while I look
You'd
at
be
this.
gutted if
this
you
treble
scored.
odds.
Go ahead, Forrest. What's that?
you'd be gutted if you scored an extra time, win the game 2-1, nets a brace, and you don't win your bet.
I know.
You
It wouldn't be
get
the
it.
first time this happened, actually.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think, I like the Whitecaps' chances in this game. I do think he could open up, and I think that favors Vancouver because defensively they've been strong and disciplined, and I think they'll continue to be that. They should do that on Sunday, and if Cruz Azul opens up a little bit, I think that's when Whitecaps can hit them, because that's the one thing that the Whitecaps struggled with against Minnesota is that Minnesota was content to just sit back. They kept retreating. They were going to end up in their own goal if they retreated any further. But if it does open up, if the Whitecaps score first, Cruz Azul has to open up a little bit. I like the Whitecaps' chances with guys like Jaden Nelson, Ali Ahmed, and then Brian White to finish as well. So that's what I'll be looking to see. And we'll see how it plays out, but would not be surprised if it's a multi-goal win for the Vancouver Whitecaps on Sunday.
I was reading a friend of the show, Alex Gangier-Ruzik. He's a great writer and really does a deep dive on stats and opponents and things like that. So looking at Cruz Azul, they're scoring an average of 1.78 goals per game and conceding just 0.85 and outshooting opponents 14.1 to 8.34 on average. So kind of circling back to what you thought the projected 11 was going to be, looking at Laborda coming back in there potentially versus Ocampo, do you think when facing such an offensive juggernaut like Cruz Azul, maybe Laborda gets the nod there over Ocampo?
Yeah, I think that it's interesting because both players like to go forward, venture forward in their own way. And we saw Matias Laborda do that at BC Place against Minnesota on Wednesday. But Ocampo really likes to get forward and plays a little bit more free than even Laborda. So I think that Matias is a little bit more sound, like structurally defensively, just setting up and for whatever reason, not getting into these situations where Ocampo gets in these one-on-ones and it looks a little helter-skelter at times. And that's where, Ocampo sometimes struggles. Still a very good defensive player, but maybe Laborda gives him a little bit more stability if I had to pick, between those two.
And if you still needed an edge, you give Laborda the edge because of the soup strainer. Like, that's a next level mustache, right?
It's awesome. It's funny because you don't see it for a while, and then you get that close up. Camera zooms in on you. Like,
It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
I took a screenshot of it. I sent it over to the dark web yesterday. I was like, look at this guy.
Oh yeah, he's a character. No, it's brilliant.
Young John Holmes.
So similar.
Someone was saying he's got to shave that thing. I was like, that's his playoff mustache.
Yeah.
Like it's
You keep that. I
going
think you keep
strong.
that.
Are there odds on that, Sharms?
On
Laborda's mustache? Yeah.
I'm
If he
sure
shaves
we
it?
could create.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ryan Gold was talking to the media this
Yeah.
last week as well, and he wasn't giving any timeline per se.
No.
Where are we at with him?
Yeah, great question. And Jesper faces that question, I think, every other day. And you can tell that, everyone's maybe frustrated by this or just frustrated by the situation because by all accounts, it seems like they've done everything they can do when it comes to that left knee capsule sprain, and it's on the road to recovery, but there's pain, I guess. And that's thing that's holding him back. But there's no surgery to my knowledge, and I think they've come out and said that as well. There's no other steps to take in regards to this knee, so it's just waiting for the pain to go away, and that is just so unique because you don't know when that happens. I've never come across anything like this before. We've heard of something where, you get the clean bill of health and everything looks okay, I think, in everything that they're looking at, but it's painful and you can't obviously play as long as you're dealing with that pain. And I think you obviously want to be cautious and don't want to do any more damage to it. But yeah, for whatever reason, that pain is not going away. We've seen him run around the field during training. So he's been at the practice facility. It's great to see that, but has not engaged in any team activity. It's going to be a while till once he's training again with the team before he can actually play. Yeah,
I mean, that's tough, right, Craig? I mean, from a coaching standpoint, even a medical staff standpoint, when you are just waiting for the player to be able to handle the pain, I mean, it's so subjective. You just don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, a knee sprain can be so painful.
Yeah, and Dubs and Ford, have you guys experienced this before or seen this? Like, it seems so strange to me that, everything seems good from what we've seen, but obviously it's still painful. So you're just hoping it gets better. I don't know what else can be done.
Yeah, we have seen it before for sure. I mean, it's an interesting one because he's such a great player. Everybody's going to keep talking about him, but what surprises me, or certainly has done, is just how well the team has functioned without him. It's been quite amazing because a few months ago, I think we would have been saying, well, they would have no chance without him, but they really coped with his absence incredibly well, which shows their strength and depth.
Well, Dubs, that's why you can't be patient with him, right?
Yeah.
Because there's no rush, clearly.
Exactly. But it still has to be frustrating for him because he wants to contribute, right? But I think they're doing the right things from an organizational perspective to keep him on the sidelines and make sure that they're taking care of him and this injury properly. But it can be really difficult when you can't point to something specific. And while I didn't have that injury in itself, I tore my PCL, my left knee, and then I ended up needing microfracture surgery under my kneecap because I had no more cartilage. But what that was doing is it was introducing pain, but then also swelling. And so swelling, when you have a certain amount of it, especially around your knee, introduces instability, which affects your proprioception, which then completely screws with the way that you strike the ball and almost the way that you sense your body. So that can be really off-putting as an athlete, where you know your body intimately. And especially when you're striking a ball and you're trusting it either as your stance leg, as the one that's anchored in the ground as the other foot's swinging through, or the opposite. So sometimes the weight of my passes, while I felt good training or in like a scrimmage, everything felt right, the execution was off.
Yeah.
So sometimes these things, they just take time. So I think they're doing the right thing here.
Yeah, and you don't want to pick up another injury because of it.
Exactly.
Dubs, microfractures beneath the kneecap or childbirth, like what's more painful?
Childbirth.
Is it, for sure?
Yes. 100%.
Come on, you had a C-section.
And more rewarding as well.
I did not.
Jeez, Craig, she brags about it all the bloody time.
That's why there's an echo
vaginal
in here.
births, remember? All the time. Jeez, we know, Dubs.
You didn't hear that, did you? I'm glad
What
you
did you
didn't.
say?
I said that's why there's an echo in here.
Took it too far.
Oh, yeah, I did.
How about some predictions? I hate doing predictions. They're stupid, but what the hell? Let's do some predictions. Let's start with you, Asa Rehman.
I will say Whitecaps win 3-1.
Wow.
Ooh.
And you get your Brian White brace.
Love it.
Maybe even a hat trick.
Still my beating heart.
Jeez.
Craig, what are you thinking?
2-1 Vancouver in extra time.
Just to piss me off, right? If those goals don't count.
That's right. Just to stick it
Fair
to
enough.
you, Sharms.
What are you thinking, Dubs?
I'm thinking because these are two kind of free-flowing offensive teams that are, have the stability and the structure defensively, but I think it might get a little bit more open than both teams want. I think it's going to be 3-2 Whitecaps.
Oof.
And Brian White.
With the brace.
All right.
It's
think I got
definitely a little
2-1
bit
as well.
hopeful because we know how
Yes.
difficult it is. I mean, if
Yeah.
my
Of
life
course.
was going to be on the line, I would have to take Cruz Azul.
In Mexico too. I mean, don't forget.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
It's
that's
their
a big.
ground.
bit.
Yeah. Well, it's not actually their ground, right? It's
Right.
Pumas' ground, but they play there, have done for the last few months, right? Their games. So, yeah, I mean, listen, the brain says probably Cruz Azul, but there's something about this Vancouver team, like I said, they just keep doing the unexpected. And when will it become the expected?
Yeah. And they play well on the road.
Yeah, they do.
It's acknowledging what they're up against. It's not discounting the opponent, nor where they're going to be playing the game in order to lift that trophy. But I think it's looking at what they've accomplished so far this season. Like in my notes for today, because dear listener and viewer, I take notes for on the day when we're recording a podcast. I wrote next level shit because like it's the beginning of it. It's the beginning of a new era, really, for the Whitecaps, that it's one thing to have won back to back Canadian championships, and it's quite another to be now in the conversation of best teams, not only in MLS, but in these continental tournaments. And of course, they're going up against a team that has the pedigree, that has the history. So they don't have that yet, but they're firmly in that conversation now.
And Craig, you did a video on this on our Footy Prime Instagram, and I forget what they stand to win again if they try and
All the
money wise. It's all the monies, but it's a lot of money. Do you remember what it was, Craig?
I think it was something like $5 million to win this tournament and $10 million for the entrance into the Club World Cup in 29.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That's
there's
That's
a
the big
lot of
one,
money
isn't
on
it?
the line.
So much riding on the line. This could be transformative for a club that is in a bit of flux right now.
Yeah.
This might convince a very wealthy Canadian buyer to keep the team in Canada, please.
Yeah.
Or the opposite.
I think they've been convinced, regardless of how this final goes. If you were on the fence, you look at what they've been able to accomplish, how ambitious Schuster was. You fire Sartini, you go out and you get Sorensen. And I think transformative is the perfect word, Sharms, for what this season has been so far for them.
But I wonder, would another potential buyer south of the border think, well, yeah, I'll grab this and we'll move it, and then look at all that money coming in 2029. I'm being purely cynical here. I don't think that's going to happen, but it's attractive, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, from everything I've heard, it's been strictly on the Canadian side as far as potential owners go. So I do think that that's still very much part of the plan to keep the team here. And this team, I think, is not only we're embracing and celebrating the success of this season, they're set up, I think, for the next few years as well. Like, this is a young group, that's a core that's they've kept together for a while now, that's really bonded and has other young, talented players emerging now with Jaden Nelson. I think like Ralph Priso is still incredibly young. So there's like a next gen, Tate Johnson, exactly. There's a next generation here as well. Like it's a pretty solid foundation with this group. And it's an exciting time to be a Caps fan.
I thought Nelson was lively last on Wednesday night.
Yeah, I thought he was great on Wednesday night as well. There were a few players that really stood out. Kubas missed the last couple of games, missed the one on the weekend because of yellow card accumulation. He does that a couple times a year. We've come to expect it. And it was great to see him back in the 11 and doing everything that he does. And then Jaden Nelson, another one that, he's had these flashes throughout the season. And he was dialed in again on Wednesday, just taking people on. So exciting to watch. Ali Ahmed started on the bench. He came in the second half and did the same sort of thing, was just skipping past people. They were just pulling his shirt, bringing them down. The same for Nelson. So it was good to see these guys going again and all on the field together. We also saw Tristan Blackman and Renko Veselinovic, two center backs together in the second half, and they've been kind of in and out of the lineup, resting with an eye on that match on Sunday. So it was really good to see the key players perform well in that match against Minnesota.